Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up. I made this pretty card with a fancy fold. I'm calling this a swing card. I don't know, I was looking for the name of it and I couldn't really find anything that was exactly like it, so there you go. I made this card with products from Stampin' Up. I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I have the free detailed directions for you on my website. It's a free, click the link and you can print it out or use it right there on your phone or your laptop. And I also have links for the products that I used. If you click those links, it'll take you to my online store at Stampin' Up. You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. I'm using Spotlight on Nature and the Spotlight on Nature dies. Spotlight on Nature is a really gorgeous stamp set. I thought about coloring with this, and I decided I would color with the Stampin' Blends. But the Spotlight Nature die are great just on their own. These dies are the same size but different patterns. So I used this eyelet die and this kind of line and dot die. I didn't use the Pearl Trios, but I may. These colors are perfect. I've got both Misty Moonlight and Petunia Pop on this card, so those would look lovely. And I am using the Petunia Pop and the Shy Shamrock Stampin' Blends and also the Misty Moonlight Stampin' Blends and the Color Lifter. I need to get this out to refer to for one of these pieces here. The card base is just a standard card base of Petunia Pop, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I've got a piece of basic white that I've already cut with that die that I was showing you. And a piece of this lovely, lovely Thoughtful Design Specialty Designer Series paper. This paper has Cajun Craze, Calypso Coral, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Petunia Pop, Pretty Peacock, and Wild Wheat. It's all got the same pattern on it with a kind of glossy look. And the ombre. You get 5 sheets. This is the one we're using today. And it's just so pretty. All of these are. The sample that I had almost all of the Misty Moonlight. This one's got a little bit more of the Petunia Pop on it. This piece is kind of a funny piece though. I cut this just 1/16 of an inch shorter top and bottom. So you cut it at 6 3/4, which is easy, but 5 7/16. And then I've scored it so this piece of paper will go kind of this way, and you will want this one to be able to fold back and forth as you open the card. And I wanted these at 2 1/8. We need to account though for all the folds and the thicknesses. So I scored it at 1/2 inch, 2 5/8, and 4 11/16. So this is just a 1/16 less than 4 3/4. And this is so we're going to valley fold, mountain fold, valley fold. We're going to start by gluing our Designer Series paper onto the front. You only want to put adhesive on the top half and just on the edges. Like so. So that the bottom half is open, and there's a method in my madness for that. And then we're going to cut the circle out from the top. So I brought in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm getting the number 1 platform, the number 2 cutting plate, my cut up clear plate, which isn't very clear anymore, my card base, and then my die cut. And I want to have about even at these 3 points. Cover it up with a second plate. And you are going to have 2 pieces. And at this point, I'm going to take a minute to just brush out the holes. So I'm going to take off this end. When I take this off, I squeeze it as hard as I can here so that we don't actually move that putty around any more than it needs to. And I keep my foam mat in here, so I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to brush these out. I'll get most of them out this way. And it's actually just this piece that I'm going to use for this project. I'm getting most of it. It's not getting all of it, but it saves me a lot of work that way. And this piece I can use for a different project. So here's why I left this open. I want to put a bow around here, and I couldn't really figure out an easier way to get the bow around without messing it up, because I didn't want to try and realign that. You can cut these out together and then line them up and then glue them together, but I figured this was maybe a little bit easier. And once you decide how much ribbon, you can go ahead and finish gluing this down. And I think it'll be easier to tie your ribbon around with it on the cardstock. Just have that ribbon where you want it to be. And I cannot tie a ribbon without my third hand. Not sure I can tie a ribbon with my third hand without it getting cattywampus. Not too bad. Okay, we've got our card front. This inside piece, we're going to do a little stamping. And I want a little bit of scrap paper behind it. Stamping with Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And we're stamping kind of at a curve here. dear friend here. And the butterfly up here. And then on our circle, we will stamp our large flower. And it will definitely go off the edge here. You want to get as much of those flowers as you can. And then we'll color. I just used the light Shy Shamrock, and I'm coloring down the stem and on either side of the leaf, and then a few lines going this way. I'm intentionally leaving some white areas. When you're using Stampin' Blends, some people are kind of intimidated because there's this whole process to it, but really it's not a lot different than when we colored with crayons, and it's pretty forgiving. On my original card, I colored my butterfly wings with the Misty Moonlight at the bottom and the Petunia Pop around the outside, and then I blended it together with the Color Lifter. On this one, I'm going to just use the light Petunia Pop, and I'm going to be blending it with the Color Lifter, so I'm just going to be using a little bit of color here. And we'll see how this looks. And when you blend, you just kind of want to do circles like you're stirring it, little tiny stirring circles. And it also kind of continues to work once you've finished coloring. So you can always come back and blend it a little bit again. We'll try that. See how you like it. Okay, we're ready to put our card together. So again, this was cut just a little bit smaller, just like a 1/16 of an inch. So there's just a teeny tiny border there. And I want to put adhesive just on this piece. And I am going to use the liquid glue, but if you're brave, you can use any adhesive. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold this, but leave this flap flat. And I'm going to mark it with a pencil, and let me turn it around this way. And I'm going to just be marking lightly on this 1/2 inch flap at the edge of the circle. And then I'm going to snip on either side of this line, just a little bit. And this is just to give it space to move around. And I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. I am going to use the Stamp and Seal just on these flap parts. That one and here. And with that bow under there, it's kind of awkward because there's a lump. And if you get any overhang, go ahead and fold that adhesive over. Okay, so with this folded like that, I'm going to close the card and make sure that I push that and get that set. And then I'm going to make sure that this lies flat. Sometimes, like this one's just not quite lying flat. And so I'm going to adjust those creases a little bit. And that will help this all lie flat. Then I'm going to put adhesive here, but I don't want to put it where the holes are. So, and I want to definitely not go over into this area. So I'm going to put adhesive here, but stay away from the edges. And this came from this, so it fits perfectly. And I neglected to color my flowers. So let me do that now. So I'm going to start with the dark and just color the bottom of my flowers. And go up a little ways. I'm coloring where one flower petal goes under the other. And you might want to have darker flowers. It's up to you. And come in with the light and blend those a little bit. Again, this is not a lot different than coloring when you were a little kid. And even in some ways it's easier because when, I don't know about you, but I tried really hard to keep coloring in the same direction with crayons, and you don't have to do that. In fact, you can go all over the place because this doesn't leave the streaks, like the brush stroke streaks, behind. It blends. That's why they call them Stampin' Blends. And the dark Shy Shamrock. And again, just barely coloring these leaves. A little bit of white showing. These are actually different kind of leaves. They don't have that center section so much. So we just need to put this on with Stampin' Dimensionals. And you may want to tip this different. It's up to you. And you can leave this plain, or you might want to add some of these pearl trios that come in Misty Moonlight and Petunia Pop. I used them on this card. What do you think? Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Just click the links and you'll be taken to my online store at Stampin' Up. Click Home near the top of my page and you'll find lots of resources. Under Shop, you can find the products I offer to make crafting more convenient, how to get free products with my frequent shopper rewards, and a link to my online store at Stampin' Up. Click Inspiration to scroll all my projects back to 2011, most with detailed directions and videos. Though the products in those older projects have been retired, You may find techniques, layouts, or color combinations to inspire you today. If you're new to stamping, you might want to look at the basics. You'll find how to cut card bases and layers, and some of my favorite tools. Under organization, you'll find lots of free resources such as catalog tabs, labels and case inserts, color tools, and much more. More organization means more time for stamping. You can learn about my Evernote notebook. I have a note for every current product that Stampin' Up! Has for sale right now. It really makes finding just exactly what you want very easy. And you can create your own notebook and search through all of the things that you own to find just what you need. Come stamp with me here in Ventura County, California, or get the best deal of all and join my team of crafters. The team is called SIP Together, and it stands for Stamps, Ink, and Paper Together. Be sure to subscribe to my website and on my YouTube channel. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.